So thank you for joining us for this Yindulgence workshop. You're going to need a bolster, a blanket, and blocks, possibly something to sit on. You might want an eye pillow for over your eyes. The blanket I recommend that you fold and put on top of your yoga mat so that you have that extra cushioning. And this workshop is going to be an introduction to Yin Yoga, but really it's going to, I'm counting on the fact that we are going to have a long relationship as student and teacher. And so today we're going to only be covering an introduction to yin and yang energy. And over time, I will introduce all the concepts of yin yoga. So today we're going to be introducing you to yin and yang energy. So go ahead and lie down on your backs in Shavasana. I recommend putting the bolster underneath your knees for that. Oh, I did also want my phone, so I'm going to time all my poses. Okay. Okay, so right here on your back, you're going to begin by feeling the support of the earth underneath you. And just let yourself rest into the earth. Allow the tension from your body to drop down into the earth. Let your breath come into your lower belly. So we tend to live in a world where we rush to the speed of the mantra, there aren't enough hours in a day. We are slaves to our overflowing schedule, and we accept the external demands of our lives rather than follow the internal rhythm of our bodies. Yin yoga is a quiet practice that allows us to slow down, to listen, to do less, and to follow the wisdom of our bodies. Okay, from here, if you're just joining us, can you just mute your line? And we're going to come into child's pose. So if you know that that doesn't work for you, you're going to bring your knees up to your chest wide and hold on to your knees. Or you can do this with your feet against the wall, and then you won't have to hold on to your knees. Okay, so we're going to come into wide-kneed child's pose. So what that means is you're going to open your knees wide, and you're going to fold forward. You could fold forward over a bolster if you want, or you can just fold forward onto your mat, resting your forehead on the ground or turning your head to one side. And you want to feel a slight tension on the inside of your thighs here. So all of life is animated by co-essential and non-hierarchical energies, chi or prana, known as yin and yang. Yin is soft, receptive, lunar, feminine, nurturing, passive, and closer to the earth. Yang is bright, dynamic, masculine, external, and closer to the sun. Yang is day or the sun, yin is night or the moon. And we need both of these energies to be in balance for our health to be vibrant. However, in our culture, yang is revered in every way. We are congratulated for being busy, for our accomplishments, for our productivity. We stay up late, working into the night with false light. And when we live only according to the values of yang, we burn up all our yin, we burn up all our energy stores. So take a moment right now and reflect on where your balance is tipping right now in your life. Maybe you feel balanced right in the center. Maybe you feel like you have a good balance between yin and yang. But maybe you feel like you're tipping more towards excess yang, more towards the sun energy, more towards going. Or maybe you feel like you're tipping more towards that yin energy, that passive, sort of stagnant energy. So what do you need to cultivate your life to come more into balance? Okay, so very slowly you're going to start to find your way out of this pose. We're going to come to a seated position, and probably best to take your legs straight out in front of you. And in a moment, I'm going to open up the lines here. So taking that question, I'll share with you first that, and then each one of you will have a moment to share. For me, I feel like yang is in excess right now. So yesterday I had a very busy day, got up in the morning, I did my practice, which felt very nourishing from a yin perspective. But then I had to be out the door and at a meeting by 9 o'clock, came back. I had a busy day getting homework done, preparing this class. And then I was out for my daughter's soccer game. I came back. I did spend some time restoring my energy again, trying to bring things back into balance by having a nap. But then we were out in the evening for longer than I wanted to be to hear a speaker, and she spoke for quite a long time. So we didn't get home till 9. After 9, I think probably closer to 9:30 by the time we got home. And then we had to set up this, we wanted to set up the set last night so that we wouldn't have to do that in the morning. And so it was much later than I usually go to bed. So it was a very young day, very long day, very active day. And so yang feels in excess. And now I feel that it's time to bring yin back into balance, to find that balance again. So I'm going to open up the lines. And of course, my name is Melissa, and I'm connecting from Victoria, BC. And I'll give you a chance to say your name, where you're connecting from, and how that yin-yang balance feels for you right now.
I'll start. I'm Linda, connecting from Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And I can so relate to your story. So go through my days always doing things and restoring my energy in between. But it's like, that's nice to do it, but in the end it's too much yang and I have to restore it. It's this big, I have to restore, otherwise it's going too far. So my intention is to bring more yin in my life.
Thank you, Linda.
I'll go next because I then want to mute myself. Hi, I'm Paige. I'm connected to Go Italy, and I have way too much yang in my life and very little yin balance. And it's beginning to show up in ways. It's showing up in frustrations about things that I do. So like resentment about things that I actually want to participate in because I just want to be home. I just want to be relaxing. But then when I get home, I don't know how to. I'm very, it's like I'm on the hamster wheel. And I've been making some changes to alleviate that. And I'm really looking forward to this practice because it's right on time. What my life is calling for.
Thanks, Paige.
I'm Ivy from New York. My days are very much running all the time. I get a yin practice in the morning before things start getting crazy, and then after that, there really is no time to slow down. I I need to probably put something in the middle of the day if I can find it to do it. But it is taking a toll on me physically as well as mentally and emotionally at this point. Thanks.
Thanks, Ivy.
Hi, I'm Liana. I'm connecting from Budapest, from Hungary, and I can totally relate to all the stories so far. I think my life is quite young as well, and I feel like it's all the pushers in my head and all the pleasers and everything that's making it young. And when I'm aware of these, then I have make time and make space to do some yin practice because it's tiring me down. So I also think that's yin in my life.
Thank you.
I'm Diane, and I'm from Nova Scotia, and I'm definitely very young energy in my life. So I try to bring in a little balance by starting my morning with my yoga practice, and then rushing out the door to go to work all day, come home, and then I try and put my meditation in after work, which brings me down a little bit from my busy day. And I then try sometimes to have an Epsom salts bath when I get a chance. But in general, yes, my weeks are very busy. It seems to be even busier because I have to go to my market shopping, and then I have to visit with my grandchildren because that's basically and there's usually something going on as well. So yeah, I definitely need some yin balancing.
Thanks, Diane.
Hi, I'm Donna. I'm connecting from Scotland. I realised a couple of weeks ago that I was completely overwhelmed after an operation. And I was trying to fit in lots of social engagements because I didn't want to miss out on things that I wanted to do. And then I realised I can't do this. I need to find a happy medium. So I have been doing more restorative yoga. I've been socialising a little bit less the past week or so. I've been doing my somatic meditation, but my work is go, 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 go. So I need to find that happy medium, and the yin practices are helpful, and I want to continue doing that so that I can keep in my balanced state as much as possible.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Donna.
I'm Jackie. I'm connecting from Spain. I tend to find that it gets to a certain time of the evening and I start to feel really, really exhausted. I'm just going to turn my video off because
Oh, did we lose Jackie? Oh, there you are. Are you with us still, Jackie?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
I got you now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I tend to find that it gets to a certain point in the evening when I start to feel absolutely exhausted.
Mhm.
And then the same goes for when I wake up in the morning. I sometimes feel that, I could do with at least another couple of hours sleep.
Mhm.
So I'm interested to explore more about the yin versus the yang in my life. And yeah, just to see, I don't necessarily feel as though I exert myself excessively during the day. However, the feelings that I get in the evening and the morning are obviously saying that maybe that's, are telling me a different story. So, yeah, so I'm interested to find out more about this practice.
Yeah, I want to hear from everybody, but I just do want to take a moment to comment on what Jackie's saying, because I think it's not uncommon that even though we might not be running excessively and we wake up, and even though we've just had a sleep, we still feel exhausted, is that yin energy is like a well. And once it's been depleted, so it may not be that Jackie's going through an incredibly excessive period in her life right now, but maybe perhaps in the past that she was running and going, and then that well gets drained. And once the well is drained, it takes a good amount of time to fill the well. Does that resonate at all, Jackie? Oh, it looks like she.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and it's not that we can't refill the well, we can, but it takes a good long time. And yeah, and these practices can do that. And over the next coming months, we'll focus on how we can do that through these practices. But that we do have to be mindful, and it's great that you're noticing these things, because that's the first step. I think that's the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jackie. I think probably a lot of people can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Jane, and I'm from the UK. And I find the summer really, really exhausting.
Mm.
And so when I get to this point of the year, I'm so relieved that we've altered the clocks and everything is starting to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel that there's a lot of exhaustion there, like a residue from the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would really like to get rid of that and increase or change the balance again,
Mm-hmm.
so that I've got a lot more yin and a lot less of this yang energy.
Yeah, so summer is an inherently yang time of year, as Jane is saying. The sun is out, the days are long, there's a lot of activity, the flowers are full on out, and we come into that yang energy. That is the balance at that time of year. And now, as the seasons are shifting, we're being asked to let go of that energy and turn towards winter's long rest. And so it's natural for us now to turn inwards and move towards more yin balance. The days are getting shorter, the leaves are falling off the trees. It's time to move towards that yin energy. So yeah, very well said, Jane.
I've had kind of highly stressful periods of time for the last probably 3 or 4 years. So although I don't have a lot of energy, I have to manage my energy very as effectively as I can. And I'm in a period where I have more yang energy than I have for many years, but I'm still very much needing kind of in yin energy.
Mm-hmm.
Although, what can I say? The balance isn't right. So when I don't have enough energy, or I don't have a lot of energy a lot of the time, I'm kind of wanting or still needing more yin, but at the same time, on occasion, when I have more yang, I utilize that. I don't know if I'm explaining myself very well.
It makes a lot of sense to me, Nick. This practice is an energetic practice, and so we're tuning into our energy, and we're using our practice to balance that energy. And so I think it makes perfect sense what you're saying. So I think you're in the right place. You told me you've practiced yin before, right?
Pardon?
You said you had practiced yin yoga before?
I haven't.
No. Okay. So I think this practice, I think you'll really enjoy it in the way that we open up to tuning into our energy and finding that balance, because even in these quieter practices, we can cultivate the energy that we need.
Yeah. I mean, I know that, I'm paying more attention to when I need to sleep more. So I need to take the time out to do it in a way that's nurturing and refills my energy. So when I've got more energy, I can use that more effectively. So I'm working at both ends, if that makes sense.
Yes. I think that's the big takeaway, is that we practice this yin together for an hour, and then we take what we learn on our mats out into our lives, so that we're continually finding that balance, weaving that balance into our lives in everything that we do. So it becomes, this way of life to find that balance in everything that we do, so that we're not, we can't find balance in an hour, right? We have to continually find that balance through our whole day. Yeah. Okay. I think a couple more people check in, and then we'll get back to the practice.
Hello, hi. I'm Nicola from the UK, West Yorkshire. I've done a couple of yin yoga classes before, but this is my first one. I'm really looking forward to it. I feel exactly the same as everyone else has been saying, and think that this will really help. So looking forward to it.
Okay, thank you, Nicola.
I'm Eva from Canada. I get overstimulated really easily, so I think the yin will help balance that yang energy.
Thanks, Eva.
So, hello.
Hi, Sabine.
I don't know if the audio works now, because I haven't got my headset with me.
I can hear
you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep.
And there's quite a lot of noise here in my house, which I hope doesn't pick up. Way too much yang energy, to put it in a nutshell. There's not much more that I can say here. I have a toddler in the house, and it's always mommy here, mommy there, always go, go, go. And I know that I can't make a little kid more yin. So it's me, I have to work on find my balance again, and yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay, thank you all for speaking that intention. And let's come into Sphinx pose now, okay? So you're going to come onto your bellies. Oh, hold on, let me mute the lines again. Okay, so you're lying on your stomachs. Just make sure there's space in your low back. And you're going to walk your elbows underneath your shoulders. If this pose doesn't work for your low back for any reason, you could take legs up the wall instead. If you're feeling like your low back feels fragile at all, you could draw up through your lower belly and through your inner thighs. So there are three main principles in a yin practice. First, you come into the shape, and then you find your edge. Now, edge is not a sharp shooting pain. It's not burning. It's not an electric sensation. And also with yin yoga practice, it's not an aesthetic practice. You know, it doesn't matter what the shape looks like. What we're doing is we're coming into a shape, we're coming into a pose. And if you're feeling it, then you're doing it. So you may feel a dull ache. It might feel uncomfortable, particularly here we're going for sensation in our low back. We want compression in our low back. Again, not sharp shooting pain, not burning or electric. But we do want compression, particularly in this pose in our kidneys. So we're compressing our kidneys and our adrenals. This is a pose that is going to give us the energy that we need in our lives, but just for the rest of our practice. So you want also, when we're coming into the shape and finding our edge, you want to be able to take a full breath. So if your breath is shallow, then you've gone too far. And in this pose, if your neck tends to bother you in this pose, you can always use you can put a block in front of your head and rest your head on the block. Okay, because in this pose, our intention is to compress our kidneys. It's not about our upper back or our shoulders in this pose, okay? The second principle of yin yoga is to resolve to be still. Now, if you do experience sharp shooting pain or anything electric, then you are going to come out of the pose, but otherwise you're going to resolve to be still. And this is so that your tissues can soften, so that you can explore the sensations and any emotions without the habitual ways that we depart, that we move away, that we're reactive. And we're going to be with any feelings of discomfort that arise. So we resolve to be still. So the first principle is we find that appropriate edge, and we resolve to be still. And then the third principle of yin yoga is that we stay for a while. And the reason that we stay for a while in a yin yoga pose, and here we're staying for 5 minutes, and because all of you are my students, we're taking this as beyond a beginner class, because we hold our poses for longer anyway. But we stay for a while to stress the deeper connective tissues that wrap around the joint. So we're stressing the connective tissues, the ligaments, and the bones in yin yoga, as opposed to the muscles. You know, in hatha yoga, we're working with the superficial level of the muscles. But this tissue, it's deeper, it's more dense, it's more plastic versus the elastic muscles that are on the more superficial level, and it needs more time. And so it needs a slow and gentle traction. And so that's why we stay for longer in the yin poses, to give it that slow and gentle traction. Okay, so you're going to come out of this pose, and after each yin pose, we're going to either lie on our bellies or lie on our backs. So you're going to lie on your belly here, and we're going to feel what we call the rebound. And that's just going to be feeling the energy moving through your body, feeling the effects of the pose. So feel it particularly in your low back. You'll feel the blood pool in your low back, along your spine. And this is tuning into your more subtle body, your energetic body. This is part of living a yin life, not pushing through, but tuning into your energetic body. And then from here, we're going to come into our next pose, which is called broken wing. You're going to take your left arm out to the side, and then you're going to turn, you're going to place your right hand on the ground. You're going to push your body away. What I'm going to recommend for this one is you just bend your knees up to the side. So it's a little twist. And I'm just going to start the timer for this pose. It's a little twist. You're just turning away slightly, and you want to feel sensation on the inside of your left shoulder. That's all. And then you can relax here. So remember, we're finding that edge. And you only want to be at about 70% of your effort in a yin pose. See, we don't want to go to our maximum effort because you're going to be here longer than you're going to be in a normal yin posture, a normal yoga posture. So, as most of you could relate to when we spoke at the beginning here, we're living our lives in hurried isolation, trying to do too much for others. And this leaves us very little energy to take care of ourselves. So very, very slowly, you're going to very mindfully gather yourself up and lie on your back. And on your back, you're going to feel the rebound, the echo of this posture, broken wing on the left side of your body. Feel the difference between the left and the right side of your body. And then we'll move into our next pose. And you're going to take your feet over to the right side of your mat. And you're going to take your arms overhead, hold on to your elbows, and move your torso over to the right side of your mat. Remember, you only need to come to 70% effort. You want to feel stress along the left side of your body, so a tension along the left side of your body. You can even cross your left ankle over your right ankle. You want to feel it all the way along the left side of your body. So this is Banana Asana. Keep your right and left shoulders on the ground. Your hips are on the ground. And we come into the posture, we find that appropriate edge. We resolve to be still. Breathing into your lower belly. Remembering if the breath is shallow, then you need to back off a bit. So very, very slowly, with intention, you're going to very carefully come out of this pose. You've been in it for a while. You need to come out carefully. And you're going to come back to the center and feel the effects of that posture in your body. So feel the rebound, feel the echo. Feel the difference between the left side of your body and the right side of your body. Can you feel the prana, the chi, the energy moving through the left side of your body compared to the right side of your body now? Okay, we're going to move to broken wing on our right side now. So you're going to lie on your stomach again. You're going to put your right arm out to the side this time. And then you're going to turn away from it and bend your knees up to the side. So you want to feel a sensation on the inside of your shoulder, on the right side of the chest, along the inside of your right arm. And then resolve to be still and soften into the pose. So yang energy is rushing around, devoting ourselves at all costs to overflowing schedules, following the demands of our to-do list. And our modern lives have one common speed, which is fast. We're expected to exert ourselves at the same level every day of the week, all throughout the days and into the evenings. This forward momentum and constant stimulation is yang in excess. Very, very slowly, you're going to carefully gather yourself up and lie on your back again to feel the effects of this posture in your body. So now you start to feel the energy moving along the right side of your body. And just notice how your energy is feeling as we progress through this class as well. You feel like you're coming more into balance. And then we're going to move into Banana Asana on your other side. So you're going to take your legs over to the left side of your mat, and you can hook your right foot if you'd like. And then you're going to scoot your torso over to the right side of your mat, take your arms overhead. Remember, you're going to be here for 5 minutes, so you don't want to come to 100%, but just back off to about 70%. You want to feel this along the whole right side of your body. Both shoulders should be resting heavy on the ground. If your breath is shallow, you've gone too far, you want to be able to breathe slowly and deeply into your lower belly, into your lower dantian. So the fast-paced culture we live in, with its 24/7 reliance on technology and belief that there are never enough hours in the day, is yang excessive. Rushing around, slaves to our never-ending to-do lists, means that we do not find balance in yin, that is, resting and relaxing. Traditional Chinese medicine says that depleted or damaged yin causes many conditions such as insomnia, anxiety, infertility, hormonal imbalances, menstrual issues, and these are some of the most common issues that people ask me for yoga classes for. So I think it's really important for us to get to the root cause and to nourish our yin energy, as women especially. Very slowly, you're going to start to find your way out of this pose with ease. Coming back to the center to feel the rebound, to feel the echo from that pose. Feel the energy moving through your body. And then you're going to bend your knees, roll to your side, make your way up to a seated position. You're going to need a folded blanket here to elevate your hips. So to give your hips a little elevation, you're probably going to need a bolster or a block. Probably a bolster for the first one. So giving your hips that little elevation, sitting on top, extend your legs out in front of you. You're going to cross your left leg over your right leg for half shoelace pose. And you're going to fold forward. We want to feel the sensation along the back of your right leg. And then you can use your bolster here to support your head. You might not need as much as me, in which case you can lie your bolster flat or you can rest on your leg. You can make that work however you need to. So while yang energy is moving, active, buoyant, rising, masculine, forceful, and light, and we need yang energy too. Yin energy is slowing down, doing less, connecting with ease, listening. Yin is rest, feminine, quiet, and heavy. So reflect on the ways that you are being pulled into yin balance in your life. It takes discipline to go against the flow of our dominant culture. The world isn't going to slow down, but you can slow down. Connecting with your yin energy means slowing down, connecting with nature, spending time outside, taking time to prepare foods that nourish you, resting. Very slowly, you're going to come up to a seated position. Take both legs long. And just feel the effects of that posture in your body. Feel the rebound, feel the energy flowing, the blood rushing into the right leg. And then you're going to cross your right leg over your left leg. And this may be enough. You may not even need to tip forward here. You may already be feeling sensation. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. This is an energetic practice. It's not an aesthetic practice. You can take your bolster again to support your head. And we're going to pause here. So yin yoga postures cultivate receptivity, softness, patience, letting go, and the capacity to abide with a loving presence with pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral sensations. Yin poses teach us to value slowness, stillness, steadiness, and an attitude of surrender and receptivity. Yin yoga poses are unhurried postures, unstrained by striving. Okay, you're going to slowly come out of this posture. Come back up to seated. Take your legs straight out. Pause here. Feel the effect of the posture through the backs of your legs, through your hips. And then you're going to lie down on your backs for Shavasana. Take the bolster underneath your knees for Shavasana. And in Shavasana, you may want to pull a blanket up over top of you in case you catch a chill. You're going to place your hands on your lower belly to gather all your energy into your lower dantian, into the most powerful energy center in your body. And you're going to be still. Allow your practice to integrate. You've cultivated some amazing chi, prana, energy, life force during this practice. And you can just take some time now to receive your practice. You can stay resting in Shavasana. I will sit up to read you a poem. Move the camera back so my head is in the frame, please. Thank you. So this poem is called Lines Written in the Days of Growing Darkness by Mary Oliver. Every year we have been witness to it, how the world descends into a rich mash in order that it may resume. And therefore, who would cry out to the petals on the ground to stay, knowing as we must how the vivacity of what was is married to the vitality of what will be. I don't say it is easy, but what else will do if the love one claims to have for the world be true? So let us go on cheerfully enough, this and every crisping day, though the sun be swinging east and the ponds be cold and black, and the sweets of the year be doomed. So reflect back on your practice, your yin practice of balancing yin and yang energy, and what stands out about your experience? How does your experience today of balancing yin and yang energy relate to the rest of your life? And what's one small thing that you're going to carry with you from your yin yoga practice today, from your practice and into your life? And then you're going to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bend your knees. Roll to your right side and pause on your right side. Take a moment there to gather yourself up. Slowly make your way up to seated, and I'll open the lines. It is 11 o'clock, so if you do need to leave now, I'll let you go, but I will also open the lines so that you can speak about what it is that you're going to carry with you off your mat and into your life, and also so that I can take any questions or comments that you might have about this yin practice. And yeah, just so that we can come back together before we say goodbye for today. But I do understand that this was the time that we agreed to leave, so that if you need to leave, do not feel that you are rude for leaving at this time. Hey, so any takeaways, comments, or questions?
I was having a problem with stiffening and cramping when I was lying for the long periods of time, or staying in positions for long time. It was painful, even though I moved slowly to come out of the poses. Is this something that somebody that might have some oncoming arthritis should not be doing? Or?
So stiffening only when you're coming out, or through the whole thing?
I'm not in any pain when I'm there in the pose. When I try to move afterwards, not good. Didn't feel good.
It's coming out slowly. That's all right. You're all right. Yeah. How do you feel now?
Oh, I'm fine. Good.
Yeah. You just got to come out slowly. You're fine. It's because you've been in the pose for so long. Then you're slowly moving again.
I recognize that, Ivy. Yeah, and then for me it was, I think too, it's difficult to be in a pose for 70%. I think for me I think it's part of my young energy that I want to do more. So to back off and not go all the way, and to relax in the pose, it was not easy. Yeah, it's different from restorative yoga, I think, in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can also try choosing a gentler edge, not going as deep into the pose. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And also when you come into the pose, being softer in the pose.
Yeah.
So all these yin qualities that we're talking about, stillness, softness, gentleness, quietness, these are the qualities that we're embodying when we're in the pose as well, right? So we're not coming into the pose and then, right? We're coming into the pose and we're being soft.
Yeah.
So everything that we're talking about, we're embodying in the pose.
I find the stillness really interesting because I have a chronic pain. I don't often sit still or stay still in one place. I always have to be moving. And so I'd set an intention not to move, to actually be with that stillness. And I found it amazing how much I could let go, and how much that constant moving actually created its own, like, a nervous energy. And so to actually stop and say to myself, I'm not going to move, I'm just going to relax into it. That was really huge for me, to be able to be still for that long.
It's really powerful.
And yet I don't think about myself as having a nervous energy. I'm not a sort of I'm not a sort of go person. I'm a very kapha, very sort of grounded and solid. So that was really interesting to me.
Very different and yet courageous way to relate to pain.
I really enjoyed the class. Thank you, Melissa. I really felt nourished, and particularly enjoyed the child's pose. It felt really, really deep. Felt quite different to when we just do child's pose in one of the average classes. Not average classes, but the more young classes. One question I had was around what would you recommend? So, for example, if we wanted to start practicing some yin poses every day, what would your recommendation be as to one particular pose and for how long?
So just one pose?
Well, it doesn't matter, one or more poses.
So this sequence is set up really quite well for you. It's a quite full body sequence, and you could take it and work through it for as much time as you had, dropping anywhere along the way. So starting with the child's pose, because the child's pose deals with the 6 major meridians at the bottom of the body, and then it adds in the Sphinx pose, which is your energy gathering pose. Then it's got some upper body meridian poses, and a nice side body one, and it goes back to some lower body ones. So you could take this and work with it, starting with, if you just wanted to do child's pose, adding on you could do the whole thing, or you could layer on, or you could drop. Do you know what I'm saying? So you could use that. And then also starting next Friday with the Yoga with Melissa classes, we'll be doing beginner yin classes. They'll be shorter holds because we'll be taking it as anybody from anywhere on the internet could be coming to that class. So we'll be taking them as like absolute beginners. They'll be 1 minute, maybe 2 minute holds. And yeah, so you'll have that as well. But I would say you could take this, and then we'll have another yin workshop at the end of the next month as well to add on. But this practice would work quite well.
I really enjoyed the class. Thank you, Melissa. What I learned was that I think I was pushing myself to the 100% rather than the 70%. So, which I think is probably normal for me to push myself as far as I can go. So I think in future I just need to pull back a bit, not just in the class, but just to take that forward, just not to push myself to, my 100%, maybe work at the 70%.
Really good takeaway.
I think I totally agree with Linda. I think it was you who said it's different from the restorative yoga classes that we do. I found it harder to focus. And I was very happy to come out of the pose sometimes, but it was very interesting. Yes. And I would like to know more about it. And also explore differences a little bit more.
It is very different from restorative. When we come into a restorative pose, we're completely supported by the props, and we're just letting go completely into the props. In this pose, we are stressing the energy lines, the meridian energy lines, the connective tissue, the fascia, the joints, the bones, and it's a much more mindful practice. It's a much more meditative practice. So we're training our mind in that way a lot more. So as you said, Sabine, it's the challenge to stay there is a lot greater than in a restorative pose where we can kind of come in and just like, almost zone out, whereas here our mind is being asked to be fully present to what's happening. So it's much more a practice to train us towards meditation. And we will explore that more as we go along. This practice is so deep and wide. There's so much here, and I will introduce it to you over time. I don't want to overwhelm you all in one session. So we'll get to it over time. And there are huge differences. We'll get to all the energy channels. We'll get to what it means, what each pose means, what you're affecting where, and we'll become really intelligent, and you'll become really informed about what you're doing. We do need to lay that foundation, with what we're doing first, and yeah, well, I think it's a beautiful journey, and this is a beautiful first step.
I experienced quite a severe headache when I was over when we were doing the stretching on the left side.
Mm-hmm. So that's probably not that surprising. That's the gallbladder meridian, the liver gallbladder meridian. And that's if there's stagnation in the liver gallbladder, that does connect with people that get headaches, often have stagnation in the liver gallbladder. So you may have released some energy blockage there. Do you make sure you drink a lot of water after this class? Yeah. How are you feeling now, Eva?
Still a bit of a headache.
Yeah. Yeah. And what kind of edge were you in that pose? Did you go and like really go for it?
No, I eased off a little because I felt it instantly. So
Yeah.
maybe need to ease off even more.
Yeah. Do you have previous injuries in your neck?
Yeah.
Yeah. You might just keep your arms down too in that pose then. See how that feels. So, play around with these poses too, because they're not about the shapes. They're about creating, they are about creating a shape so we can move energy along the body. So in that side bend, it's about creating, it's about moving energy along the gallbladder meridian. And that's just along the whole side body. So if you're opening up that side body, you're fine. So you could bring your arms down, and that if that was creating something happening here along in your neck, that was creating compression, causing a headache, then you could bring your arms down. However, it could have also been a kind of stagnation in the liver meridian as well. Hard to say. Make sure you drink lots of water. But you can feel the difference, right, between that kind of compression, that kind of physical compression that causes a headache, and energetic. Can you sense the difference between those two things, Eva?
Right now, no.
Pardon?
Not completely.
Okay. I think you'll start to, the more we do these practices, you'll start to be able to sense into those differences. You'll be able to attune to the difference between your physical body and your energetic body. Anything else that's standing out that feels like it's wanting to come forward right now? Okay. Thank you for your presence here today. Thank you for creating this beautiful, still, quiet, sacred space to practice yin together. I look forward to seeing many of you tomorrow for our somatic meditation as well. And we will continue with this practice again at the end of next month in this way, but also through the rest of the month with the Yoga with Melissa classes. Not quite as in depth as we do here, and in such an intimate way, but we will continue. And also we can continue to discuss this on the forum. This class will be available for you, and so you can continue to practice it, and you can continue to experiment with it and play around with it and ask questions about it and comment on it, and we can continue to have this discussion about it through the month too. Okay? All right. Namaste.
Namaste.
Have a good evening and rest of your day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.